I'll be demonstrating backwards knitting, also known as mirror knitting. What backwards knitting allows you to do is to take the place of a purl row. So in knitting, we would knit across the stitches, and this is flat knitting. We would turn and then purl across the wrong side. Well, in backwards knitting, we don't turn our work. We would knit, and then, of course, you knit right to left, and then we're going to go ahead and in place of the purl row, we'll knit backwards from left to right. This is a big time saver when you're working bobbles or entrelac, so that you don't have to keep turning your work and resetting your hands. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to turn it around just for a quick second so you can see from the wrong side what your needle does to purl. So you have the working yarn in front and you enter the stitch this way, just like that. So when I come back here to do backwards knitting, let's get this set up. I'm going to enter that stitch the same way, but do it from the front. So I'm going to go, I'll kind of stretch this stitch out so you can really see it. So here's the stitch I'm going to enter, and I'm going to take my, I'll hold it open so you can really see. I'm going to take my left needle and go into it this way. So make sure you're entering the stitch that's on the needle and not the one below. Now I'm going to take my working yarn and I'm going to come behind the needle, over top of the needle. And now here's the interesting part. I'm just going to lift the stitch that's on my right hand needle over that piece of working yarn and then remove that stitch from the right hand needle. So now you'll see my working yarn is attached to the left hand needle, and that's where it should be in backwards knitting. So I'm going to take my left needle and again go into the back of the stitch, kind of entering it from left to right. Bring my working yarn behind the needle over top, and then you can hang on to that stitch if you need to, but I'm really just going to lift this stitch on my right hand needle over that working yarn and then take it off. So I'll do it one more time for, or actually a couple more times for throwing, and then I'll demonstrate how to do it continental style. So enter that back of that stitch, wrap the yarn around, kind of lift that over, and once you get the knack of it, it really is quite easy. Now one more time and then we'll set our hands up for continental. So enter that stitch, wrap your yarn from behind and over the top and lift it over. So let me set up my hands and I'll show you how to do this continental style. So continental knitters, of course your yarn is in your left hand, but you enter the stitch the same way. Enter the back of that. Now I find it for continental knitters, you're almost doing a wrap here. I take that yarn that's tensioned on my left hand, and the same thing that we did for throwing, we're just going to bring that yarn over the top and then lift that stitch on the right needle over. Do it again. I'm going to wrap it over. And one last time for good measure. Through the back of that stitch, over and off. You can see we've added a row of stitches in stockinette without having to turn and purl. Happy knitting!